Are you looking to a good smartphone? In this video, we will look at one of the best smartphone on the market. Before we get started our video, we have included link in the description. So click the link if you wanna buy this phone. The Asus Zenfone 9 broke cover in the middle of last year with an impressive spec sheet and a rather complex pre-order period. Regardless, we were quite impressed with the device, especially the unique display size, which placed it among the most comfortable phones to use. While the Zenfone 9 wasn't particularly a chart topper, it's clear that Asus isn't giving up on its smartphone dreams yet. To this end, a new leak has now detailed the successor to the company's 2022 flagship, dubbed the Zenfone 10, supposedly arriving later this year. An exclusive report by PriceBaba through leaker Paris Googlani details the specifications of the Zenfone 10, bearing the model number AI2302. Unlike the Zenfone 9, the new flagship won't feature a 5.9-inch AMOLED screen, but rather a larger 6.3-inch one, per the report. This is bittersweet for fans of the Asus high-end smartphone lineup. On one hand, the Zenfone 10 would finally gain parity with its larger-screened industry rivals. However, a larger display would also mean the phone would no longer qualify as a compact flagship, an aspect we loved a lot about the Zenfone 9. Other specifications of the Zenfone 10 would supposedly include the top-of-the-line Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset backed by up to 16 GB of RAM and 256 512ths of a gigabyte storage options, plus IP68 certification for water and dust resistance, a feature carried over from the Zenfone 9. There's also going to be a 5000 mAh battery with 67W fast wired charging support, PriceBaba says. A 200MP primary rear camera will hope to take on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, though the market will likely be crowded with phones bearing this mammoth sensor when the Zenfone 10 arrives. Speaking of which, a fourth quarter release has been mentioned for Asus' latest offering, which would put its arrival date slightly beyond the predecessor's July timeline. The report says there would be 3 color options, but no specifics were provided. Expectedly, the Zenfone 10 should feature Android 13 out of the box, likely with a revamped iteration of Zen UI. Based on the company's history, an update to Android 14 should follow shortly after. The big takeaway from this leak is that all the software work Asus put in to accommodate single-handed use with the Zenfone 9 and its 2021 sibling could be going away with the 2023 refresh. Perhaps Asus can make a compelling argument for the decision, but we'll probably have to wait a few months for a definitive answer. The Asus Zenfone 9 was unveiled last July, and the Taiwanese company is definitely working on its successor as you read this. In fact, the Zenfone 10 was spotted in the online database of Geekbench, which as usual has revealed a couple of important specs. First off, unsurprisingly, since the Zenfone line is now a high-end one, the Zenfone 10 will be using Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset. This was paired with 16 GB of RAM in the specific prototype that ran the benchmark, but we're sure other options will be available too. The Zenfone 9 had iterations with 6 GB and 8 GB alongside the 16 GB one. The prototype in question ran Android 13 of course, and it managed a 2008 single-core score and a 5454 multi-core score, although as it's running pre-release software you shouldn't pay too much attention to these numbers. According to previously leaked specs, the Zenfone 10 will have a 6.3-inch AMOLED touchscreen with a 120Hz refresh rate, 256 512ths of a gigabyte of internal storage, and a 200MP main camera with OIS. It should also come with the IP68 dust and water resistance rating, and it's apparently going to be offered in 3 colors. Are you looking to a good smartphone? In this video, we will look at one of the best smartphone on the market. Before we get started our video, we have included link in the description. So click the link if you wanna buy this phone.